In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this super simple crochet hat. It's worked in the round and it started in a spiral, meaning that we don't join at the end of each round, we just continue on in a spiral. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to show you how you can do this decorative border with reverse single crochet to really emphasize the fact that it's a spiral, and it gives you a nice textured finish to the hat. So let's get started. We're going to be using Be So Brave yarn, which is my 100% USA made American merino wool, and it's a worsted weight. I'm going to be using two colors. This is Orangesicle and Flamingo, and we're also going to be using an I9 or 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. I'm going to start with Orangesicle to do the actual hat, and we'll do the embellishment in Flamingo. We're going to start by tying our yarn onto our crochet hook. You can use a slip knot, a regular knot, fancy knot, whatever works for you, and we're going to start with a chain 5. And then we're going to slip stitch to the 5th chain from our hook to form the ring. So now we've got this ring to work into. You want to make sure that you work your stitches in the ring and not into the actual chains. First round starts with a chain 1. We're going to single crochet into the ring. Then we're going to work a half double crochet into the ring, yarn over, insert your hook in the ring, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook, and then we're going to work a double crochet in the ring, yarn over, insert your hook in the ring, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to do that 9 more times for a total of 10 double crochets, 1 half double crochet, and 1 single crochet, which will give our first round a total of 12 stitches. And if you have to go back and count, I want to show you what you're going to be counting. That loop that looks like it's on a diagonal from the rest, that was our chain 1. So this would have been our single crochet. So we're going to start counting there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've got 9 stitches so far, so 3 more double crochets. Okay, our first round is now complete. We have our 12 stitches, and we started with a shorter stitch and gradually made our way to the taller stitch so that when we continue on in a spiral working our rounds without joining, it gives us a gradual step up so that we don't have a jog in between the stitches. We don't have a hole. And now for every round going forward, we're going to be working in the back loop only. I'm going to show you what it looks like on the finished hat. That's what gives us this texture of this free loop, and that's what we'll end up working our piping stitch with the reverse single crochet later on. But it's also a very pretty element to the hat if you ended up doing it in one color without the piping as well. So back to round 2. And we're going to work with double crochet only for the rest of this portion of the hat, and you're going to be working through the back loop only. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook in the back loop only of the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. This round is to work 2 double crochets in each stitch around. So we're going to work a second double crochet in that same stitch, back loop only. And then we're going to repeat that in the next stitch, 2 double crochets through the back loop only. Okay, I've done the double stitch in 5 of them. You want to repeat that in all 12 all the way around. Okay, we finished the next round, so now we've turned 12 stitches into 24 stitches, and because we don't join at the end of each round, sometimes it can get a little tricky to remember where you're at. So what I like to do is add a split ring stitch marker so that I can remind myself where the round begins and ends in case I lost my count somewhere along the way. Okay, the next round is to work 2 double crochets in the first stitch and 1 double crochet in the second stitch. And remember, it's always through the back loop only for this pattern. So we're going to work 2 double crochets through the back loop only in the first stitch, 1 double crochet through the back loop only in the next stitch, and that's the repeat we're going to work all the way around. 2 and 1. 2 and 1. 2 and 1. So you'll be turning 24 stitches into 36 stitches on this round. Okay, we've come back to the first stitch, which are the last stitch of the last round, and worked into it. So now we can move our stitch marker up to mark the end of this round instead. Don't forget to download the free pattern. It has stitch counts and row counts or round counts for several sizes of the hat. It comes in a men's size, 21-inch circumference, a woman's size, 19-inch circumference, and I'm going to stop doing the increases at this point and make this a child size hat. So we're going to now just work 1 double crochet through the back loop only in each stitch around. And what you'll notice at the end of this round or the round after it is that because we're not doing any more increases, our hat is going to start having a wall. It's going to start curling up on itself, which is a good thing for a hat because it's going to start getting its three-dimensional shape. So just work 1 double crochet in each stitch around for this round, and then repeat that round until you reach your desired length. That's it. That's it for doing this portion of the hat. So I probably won't move my stitch marker either at this point. I'll just use it as a guide to remember where to end my my rounds. And then once you've reached the desired length, I'll show you how we gradually decrease the height of the stitch to make the join less noticeable because we worked in the spiral. See how it's starting to curl up on itself now, so it'll end up being this way for the hat. Okay, I did 6 rounds even without any more increases, and I'm going to show you how we gradually decrease the stitches down now to create a smoother edge for finishing a hat in the spiral. We're going to start, well, we finished off with a double crochet through the back loop, so now we're going to work a half double crochet through the back loop, a single crochet through the back loop, a slip stitch through the back loop, and then a slip stitch through both loops. So you can see it gives you a much more gradual edge when you work in the spiral. So I'll cut the yarn, and honestly, this could be your finished hat. If you were going to do a hat like the green one done in colorway Everglades, you'd be done right now. But what we're going to do is do this textured stitch, which is a reverse single crochet, and we're going to work it in the free loops of all of the free loops when we work through the back loop only, so the front loops. And we're going to start at the end here and work our way all the way up to the beginning spiral. And if you haven't done reverse single crochet before, it's not a problem. I will be happy to show you how to do it. It's really quite simple. It's just having to think about single crochet in a little bit different kind of a way. So we're going to start by joining it where we fastened off the last stitch through both loops with a slip stitch, and now we're going to work backwards. Reverse single crochet means we work backwards. We're going to be working left to right, and so for this first round or the last round of the hat, we're going to be working through both loops, and it won't be until we come back around and start here and work on the surface of the work in that free loop that we'll be working through the one loop only. So we're going to start by working a single crochet in the next stitch to the right of where we're at. So we're going to insert our crochet hook in the stitch to the right, pull up a loop, and pull through 2. Insert our crochet hook in the next stitch to the right, pull up a loop, and pull through 2. So it's exactly the same as a regular single crochet, but instead of working right to left, we're working left to right. and it gives us this kind of a piped edge. It has a totally different texture when you're working this way. Pretty cool, huh? Exactly the same stitch, but done in a slightly different way, and you get a totally different look. This is a great edging for anything, a baby blanket, a regular blanket, anything that you don't want a super fancy edging on, but you want a little bit of edging. Reverse single crochet is great. It looks like a piped edge. When I say piped, I think in terms of like upholstery. Not cake, but I guess it could look like a piped edge on a cake too. Okay, and then as soon as we make it all the way around the edge of the hat, I'll be able to show you how we start in those free loops. Okay, we've come to the end of the round. This is our last stitch where we'll be working through both loops because we're at the end of the work. And we're going to now work in the same stitch as the first join of slip stitch. And now we're going to bend the work down so that we can see those free loops better. See how the free loop stands up a little bit better when you fold the work down at the free loop line? And that's going to help us to be able to position ourselves to insert our crochet hook into it to work a reverse single crochet like that. And so now I'm going to keep the work bent at that free loop line as I go. And work the reverse single crochet or single crochet from left to right exactly as we did on that first round, but now we're working, and you can see, isn't that cool? We're working on the surface of the crochet now. So cute. And working on the sides of the hat is super simple. You can do this for the entire hat, and then we'll touch base again when we get up here so I can show you how you have to be a little more delicate with your fingers to get into those. We're almost to the crown now, so obviously you wouldn't be able to fold the whole hat in half to make that free loop stand up like a peak. So what you're going to do is just pinch one round on either side of the free loop, and that's what's going to make it pop up, and so you can easily get into it to work your reverse single crochet. I've done this particular type of surface crochet on handbags, on sweaters, on scarves. You could really do this type of technique on anything. It'd be really pretty on pillows too. And so as you go along, you just want to make sure that you're pinching the right two rounds so that the actual free loop that you want to work into is the one that pops up. And as you go along, that's going to change. So you just want to readjust to make sure that you're positioning yourself perfectly to get into that free loop. And this does seem a little awkward at first, but you will find your rhythm the more you do it. And while I think the contrast color is interesting, I think it would also be a really beautiful texture if you did it in the same color as the hat. I'm going to go ahead and remove the stitch marker now. We don't need it anymore anyway. And it's a good time to readjust which rounds we pinch. And I think I'm going to show you I'm going to keep recording for the rest of the spiral because this is where it gets a little wonky, and so anything I can show you that is a tip or a trick for how I get through this portion I think would be really helpful, because it is just about getting yourself positioned to get into that loop. And we're doing it a lot more, it's almost more like a surface crochet than what we were doing on the sides because it's harder to pinch those two rounds to make that free loop stand up the closer we get to the center. this point I'm almost readjusting for each stitch. The curve is happening at that much faster of a rate when you get that close to the center. You see, you do find your rhythm, and it's not that hard. You just have to think about it in terms of just making sure that you're positioning yourself to get into that free loop. Because once you do, you definitely know how to do a reverse single crochet at this point. You've had plenty of practice up until this point of the hat. So it's just about getting that positioning. I think this would be a really cute pillow, like a throw pillow for a bedroom or a couch. I'm trying to decide what colors I would do. Red's definitely the theme of accent color in my bedroom, so I would probably use American Beauty. But in my living room, I'm trying to think what two colors I would do. I don't know, I actually don't mind this. I think that would be really pretty too. These two colors would be great for a little girl, obviously. They definitely remind me of one of my favorite hibiscus flowers that we have here in Florida, the orangesicle and flamingo. Sometimes they come together in the same hibiscus. Sometimes they're just orange and sometimes they're just hot pink, but there's one where you have a hot pink center in an orange hibiscus, and that's my favorite. Okay, we've made it to our last two stitches here. And once we finish our last stitch, I think it's really important to move the yarn to the inside of the hat and weave in your ends from there. So I'm going to fasten off now that I've finished my last stitch. Okay, so fastening off there doesn't give us a great spiral, right? But if we tuck our tail through the starting ring of the hat and bring it to the inside, now we have a spiral. Isn't that cool? So I'm going to weave in my ends on this side. In fact, just to speed it up so that I can show you for the video, obviously I will be weaving in both of those ends and these ends before giving this hat to a little girl. But here's what the finished hat will then look like. And it has that beautiful, beautiful spiral detailing accentuated with the reverse single crochet. And that is the smaller child size, and here it is again in the adult size, women's, and here it is without the piping, and you can see it's still a spiral hat in the man size. Please use coupon code YouTube20 to get 20% off all yarn sales in my shop at www.kristinomdahl.com, and when you go there, that's where you can download this free pattern and many, many more.